Yo, it's Kyle, another video, and the title of this video is The Ups and Downs of Being Alone. And what I mean by that, okay, got my tea here. I just want to preface this video by saying I am not a guru. I'm not a spiritual teacher. I'm not trying to sell you nothing. I'm just a normal guy talking about normal experiences, and hopefully I can relate or help other normal people going through similar situations. So the ups and downs of being alone. So I've lived alone for the last 4 years. I was in a relationship for 2 of those years, but we lived separately. And as of 3 or 4 months ago, we broke up, and I have been single. And I've been exploring my options. You know, right when I broke up with my ex, it was hard at first, but also there was the contrast of there was a lot of interest from people, and you know, I was exploring it. It was exciting, even though the pain was there from my last relationship. It didn't end on a bad note. There was no hate in that relationship. It just ended. But through being alone, you know, you get those highs, you get those moments where it feels good to have your freedom. It feels good to not to have to live up to somebody's expectations. To do what you want, say what you want, go out when you want, wake up when you want, go to sleep when you want. I'm somebody that has healthier habits, so like for me, I don't need to like go out and do all these things, but you know, that is a benefit of being alone. But there are also moments that I've experienced. You know, I was kind of riding that high of being alone the first month or two where, you know, I was like, okay, I'm single again, I'm getting attention from women, I'm going on dates, it was fun, it's exciting. But also, you know, just hooking up or hanging out with people I don't necessarily have a connection with, or I know it's not really there, and I don't want to just engage in a bunch of meaningless sex with people that I don't really have a connection with, which is something you see a lot in like the manosphere and the man community when it comes to dating is, you know, just try to sleep with as many people as possible. To me, that never really appealed to me. You know, I have engaged and I will, and I have nothing necessarily against, you know, casual sex, but it is casual sex just for the reason of casual sex. And that doesn't really satisfy me. That always leaves me feeling empty. And I'm sure other people can relate to that. It feels good to, you know, I feel like a lot of men, especially if you grew up not feeling very attractive or not feeling like you're desired, to have that desire from multiple women, you know, being able to have the ability to sleep with multiple women. It kind of satisfies like that inner broken child that was in love, that inner broken kid that maybe in high school or in college, you weren't seen as attractive from the opposite sex. So as soon as you start to get that attention, you will say yes to hooking up with random women just to kind of satisfy that need, just to satisfy the ego's need to sleep with a bunch of women. But at the end of the day, at least for me, and this is me speaking about my experience, is that always left me feeling empty. And even though being alone, I feel like it's a beautiful thing, and you would rather be alone than be with somebody that makes you feel alone. You could feel alone, but be with somebody. You could feel alone, but be in a relationship, but that relationship makes you feel alone. It can make you feel worse. A lot of relationships can make you feel worse than just simply being alone. Even though you don't have somebody there to validate your existence, to give you love, to give you physical affection, to give you to fill those emotional needs. Especially as a man, I feel like it's very hard to find those emotional needs in other ways. You know, men are kind of expected to be strong, to be stoic, and you know, I feel like it's different from women. At least this is how I feel, where if a woman is single, they still get a lot of emotional needs met from their friends. You know, women are not afraid to be very open and vulnerable around their friends, whereas men, there's a tendency to not be open with their male friends, to kind of keep it very light, to, you know, have male friends that you can't really open up to emotionally, whereas it's easier for women to do that. Men suffer from that issue where even in relationships they can't open up emotionally. And that's why it's important to do the self-work. It's important to find friends that, not just friends that you can have fun with and go out with and have cool experiences with, but male friends that you could really connect with on a deep spiritual level. And it's hard to find that. You know, sometimes you have to be alone, because being alone means protecting your energy, because if you're just so afraid of being alone, you will kind of accept less than what you deserve, accept less things that don't serve you, friendships that don't serve you, relationships that don't serve you. And those are the ups and downs of being alone, where some days you'll feel great. You'll really love your freedom. You'll really love the intention you're getting from being single. If you're somebody that's putting yourself out there, somebody that's doing the work, that's hitting the gym, that's bettering themselves, you know, you will get attention, and that will satisfy a need for a bit. But, you know, just this going, I don't do like online dating, but that's a big thing nowadays. I like meeting people organically, personally, and it works for me. You know, I don't meet maybe as many people as you would on dating apps, but when I meet people, the connection is stronger than I feel like dating apps, and it's more genuine. But also, I feel like it's really hard to break through that. And, you know, there is something beautiful about being with somebody that you could be vulnerable with, being somebody that you could really build a connection with, you could build a future with. But it's got to come from a place of like self-love. It's got to come from a place of happiness, of contentness. Because once you start to need it, once you start to crave it more than anything, once you start to put the need for love and relationships above your purpose, there's got to be a reason beyond, you know, love and relationships that wakes you up in the morning. Something that you're really passionate about as a man to, you know, that's kind of what fulfills a man, is that passion, that purpose that we have. Whatever it is, even if it's something just like being a dentist, if you feel like that's your passion, that's your calling, that should be the reason you wake up in the morning. And then love is the secondary thing that comes into your life once you start fulfilling that purpose. And that is also an attractive quality. You know, a lot of it's not really healthy to have your purpose be your relationship as a man. You should have a purpose beyond your relationship. But the ups and downs of being alone. You know, I found in the last week, you know, I was vibing with somebody, and we were seeing each other, and she had to go off to school. And we hung out like 5 times, and I feel like the connection was there. She was fun, she was really beautiful, and then she left. And at this point, I was really happy being single, I was really happy being alone. But the second she left, it just kind of brought up like something in me where I thought, you know, it's another person leaving my life, which is okay. You know, life is fluid, life is always changing. People are gonna come and go, and you have to accept that reality. But for me, just pursuing sex, pursuing these short-term relationships, they only bring a very short-term happiness, a very surface level happiness. They don't really fulfill me. And sometimes I wish I kind of reserved my energy better, where I wasn't pursuing these things. I was pursuing something deeper and kind of holding on to my energy and kind of looking for the right opportunities, working on myself, following my purpose, following my dreams, adding value to people through my energy, through my aura, if you will. You know, just being that kind of man that really uplifts a room, that uplifts other people. There's just, I don't know, kind of sparked that moment, and it wasn't necessarily because of this person, it was because I've gone through this before where you feel lonely, you feel alone in this world, especially as a man. I'm just speaking from my experience because I know women do feel lonely a lot too. Like, that is just an epidemic going on where a lot of people feel alone. Even if they are surrounded by people, even if they're in relationships, they feel alone. They feel like there's nobody there for them. They feel like their connections, their friendships are very surface level. They can't really go deep. And, a lot of it is social media where we get like those dopamine spikes through social media and those connections, but they are very surface. They aren't going to fulfill that need for socialization, that need that humans have to be social creatures, to connect with somebody on a deeper level, to have a really strong social circle, people that you trust and love. And honestly, I feel like, it's kind of shunned now, where, especially in like you see a lot of this red pill advice where it's work on yourself, like do not even worry about women, do not even concern yourself with that, which I understand. There's a lot of low quality women, just like there's a lot of low quality men. I'm not just saying women are evil or men are evil. There's both low quality where they're trying to trick each other, they're trying to play the game, but a few people are really being open and vulnerable and being real and really asking themselves, what do I want? Do I just want to be in this hookup culture where I'm going on dating apps, I'm meeting people on Instagram, and I'm hooking up with them, and then, there is something in that can be beneficial, but at the end of the day, I feel like that doesn't really serve your soul, doesn't really serve, you feel there's an emptiness in that. At least that's what I've experienced. There's an emptiness in the constant hooking up and just, not really getting deep with people, kind of using people to fill your ego, to fill the void in your heart that you have, to feel that loneliness. And nobody could fill that loneliness but yourself. That is something you have to be content with, because once you are okay with being alone, you could really attract the right people, because you're not gonna settle for less than what you deserve, settle for anything less that serves you. Anyway, we're about 12 minutes in, so I'm gonna cut this video off, but thank you and peace.